The Bank of Canada and the US Fed cut rates today, but metals, equities, even the 10-year yield, crypto, everything saw tremendous volatility. Let's talk about why the markets flipped. So first, the Bank of Canada did cut rates by 25 basis points, bringing the rate down to 2.5%, which is the first rate cut in about 6 months. Now, weak job data as well as a very much slowing GDP, and those are both very much understated comments, are the main drivers for the rate decision in Canada. But at the same time, the US Fed also lowered rates by 25 basis points, bringing it down to 4% from 4.25%. This is the first rate drop since December of 2024. Now, markets are starting to eye and potentially price in another 2 rate drops later on this year. Now, the US dollar did weaken earlier in the day and is still under tremendous pressure, even though we ended up the day relatively flat or slightly into the green. The loonie here in Canada also saw tremendous volatility, and both are essentially going to continue to be under pressure, especially as rate drops continue down the road. Now, if we're taking a look at the US 10-year yield here, we saw rates actually dip quite significantly below 4%. However, we have seen a little bit of a bounce back by end of day, at which point we are near the daily high, just shy of. And this is essentially based off falling rates as well as a softer labor market, which is cooling some of the inflation fears, or so they say. At the same time, Powell has stated that we really still don't know the impact of tariffs. Now, if we're taking a look at the metals today, gold did fall under tremendous pressure earlier in the day. However, did recover quite a bit, still finished slightly into the red. Analysts are still holding on to that $4,000 per ounce number if the Fed continues to remain dovish. Silver here continuing to hold, still below $42 at spot price. However, platinum is still also considered a great safe haven demand, at least right now. Now, Bitcoin and other majors also saw tremendous volatility, where Bitcoin is the only one that essentially stayed into the red, where we saw altcoins essentially recover all of the earlier losses on the day, but over the last 24 hours still holding green, and Bitcoin just shy of that as well. Now, what are we expecting going forward? Well, essentially, I would typically be looking for some kind of continuation of the trend, but the truth is 25 basis points were expected and already priced in. The question is, what will future rates actually, how will they actually impact the markets? That's it for now, everybody. I'll see you at the opening bell.